Good morning. It's morning somewhere. In fact, leave a comment and let me know what time it is as you're watching this video. Yeah, it's a rainy, misty morning. It's beautiful if you think about it. But it also has me thinking about Halloween coming up pretty soon. So I am going to make in this video some Halloween jewelry. Yeah, we are. We're going to have some fun here. So keep watching. This misty morning put me in the mood. Just popping in to say hello, and if you're new here, I'm Vicki. Are you ready to make some Halloween bracelets and earrings? If you are, keep watching. This is what I pulled to start with for our Halloween jewelry. I have these vintage beads. Almost everything here is vintage. I have some yellow. Let's set this aside so you can see a little better. I have these yellow beads, and these are pretty cool. They're black and light orange. This is a lighter orange, but it has some yellow beads and interesting clear beads. This is ready to go, honestly, just like it is, but I'd like to pull some of these beads and work them into the jewelry today. And then I have these black beads. One thing that all of these have in common, pretty much, is that they are all vintage, number one, but they're also plastic beads. So whatever we make today is going to be a very light piece of jewelry, from bracelets to earrings to maybe a necklace. I do have a mix of wood and plastic here, but so this is our color scheme for our Halloween jewelry. However, I really wasn't finding a lot of green in my stash, so I pulled these beads out. I wish they were a little, I guess they're a little bit close to that shade. I have some glass beads here, and glass and acrylic, so we're probably going to work those in. And I got into one of my seed bead mixes that I'd made last year for Halloween. I might work in some of these. Now you can see that this yellow is a lot brighter. So I guess with that said, I really haven't picked up a nice bright yellow. I don't even know if I have any. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go check and I'll be right back. Not only did I find some yellow beads from some necklaces I took apart from a while back, I actually like that a lot better than this gold color, so this is probably going to be out. Let's see, is there anything else in here? I have some orange, a little bit of a mix here. As you can see, I marked my bags with the color just like I do my totes. I organize these by color. That's too light. I have some amber. Here's some orange. Orange, you glad to be here? Had to do it, sorry. Those are more amber. It's a maybe. I'm going to put the rest of these away and we'll get started. When we think about Halloween jewelry, we often feel like we need to incorporate, the enamel pieces like this little pumpkin. It is a slide or a pin. I can most certainly work that into something, but I don't have very many of these. So I want to show you in this video how you can make some Halloween jewelry without it being too Halloweeny. Can I say Halloweeny? Yeah, let's make some jewelry that have all the colors that represent Halloween, but not be, how can I say it? Perhaps not too whimsical, just the colors. That's what we're going to do. I'm not sure what all we're going to make. I'm thinking bracelets, earrings, and perhaps a necklace. I have some 49 strand wire. I have some memory wire. For my tools, I have my chain nose pliers and my flat nose pliers. In fact, I have two pair of flat nose. I have my round nose that also have my cutter on it. Scissors, and nothing too special, although I do need memory wire cutters if we do a memory wire bracelet. So let's get started. And to get started, we need to take it apart. Yes, we need to cut the jewelry apart. That's what we do here. We upcycle it. So let's go for these large black baubles here. These are pretty heavy duty. I thought they were plastic, but yeah, they're plastic. They're just solid. Nice plastic beads. Nice beads. We have these, and I like how they're faceted. I think this necklace is really cool. Now this is truly vintage. It says Hong Kong, has a unique clasp, and some of you are probably thinking, oh, sell it on eBay just like it is. Well, it is a shorter necklace, number one. And the second reason I'm not selling it is because I probably get about $15 for it, but it's actually more valuable to me for the beads because they're so unique. If you follow the channel for any length of time, you know that's what we do here. We upcycle, and if you're new here, well, we upcycle. Mostly upcycle. I do work with some new beads and findings, but for this Halloween jewelry, we're upcycling. And these are too cool to pass up. I mean, it only takes a couple of these to make the piece of jewelry look really unique, because they're not beads you find in the bead store, are they now? Nope, these are different.
Summer is ended, the leaves are turning brown.
Have you made any jewelry yet? Have you made any Halloween jewelry, either in the past or lately? One of our subscribers asked me, are you going to make some Halloween jewelry this year? Now, last year I just made an eyeglass holder, and I did have my pumpkins upside down when you would put on your glasses. Yeah, I kind of missed that part when I was making it. So if you're going to make an eyeglass holder and you have beads, that are something like this, some kind of pumpkin bead and has a face, remember that when you go to put your eyeglasses on your face, your pumpkin could end up upside down. So the takeaway is don't use directional beads for eyeglass holders. That's what I learned on that one. Okay, so we have these. Yeah, those are pretty neat. Those are metal. These are plastic, but pretty cool. That's what we have so far. Keep going here. This is really pretty, and it's a nice long necklace. Could wear it just like it is, but instead I'm going to actually try to mimic this. Yes, mimic it. I do have some brown in here. I didn't pull any brown. Maybe I should. You could say we're using this as our inspiration for the color palette for the fall and Halloween jewelry. Oh, another thing. Someone asked me the other day, how do you get beads off of string when the beads are glued to the string? Well, you can't. You can't do it. That's why I don't buy them. And that's also why I typically don't buy jewelry jars if I can't look through it, because sometimes they'll put those beads glued on string jewelry in the jar or hide them in the middle of the bag. I'm not saying you can't find good stuff. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that when you don't get to see what you're buying, you do have to consider that you might have some strands of glued beads on string that you can't upcycle. Yeah, they're just glued. It's not worth the time. How's that?
Soon they'll be falling down.
I'm also curious, do you decorate for Halloween? Sometimes I get out my fall and Halloween items and set up my buffet in the kitchen. Not always, though. Sometimes I'm too busy to put it out. I do enjoy seeing it, though, when I'm in the kitchen. I'm going to set the clasp aside. Extension chain, I'm just going to set that aside. But this is what we have, and it does make me think that I need to go through my brown beads and consider including some brown as well as black. Black lends itself more towards Halloween, and the brown lends itself more towards just fall colors. I'm rethinking this necklace because this goes quite peach compared to the orange, but I do like the yellow beads. I do. I don't know. I'm going to hold off on taking this one apart. And as I also said a little bit ago, I'm going to set this gold one apart. Although that would be pretty for fall, more than the brightness that we expect for Halloween. And this wood necklace, I'm going to set that aside now too. But I am going to pull my brown tote and see if I can find something and that. But this is what we have so far, along with, well, some of these are peachy, some are orange. These go way too coral, but those are pretty bright orange. Those are glass beads, and they're pretty. And then I have these large baubles that are like the black one. They're faceted like the black one. So we'll get some of those out. And I see a green bead in here. I have these other orange beads as backup. I'm going to check my brown, and I'll be right back. Can you believe I'm making a video for Halloween jewelry and our power went off for a second there? Yeah, I went over to pull the brown beads and the power went off, and I'm like, oh no. I think Mark could hear me at the other end of the house. All I really have today are these wood beads, and I know that they have large holes, and so I can't put any seed beads next to them, but, you know, might be able to work these in. And wood would be nice for Halloween or fall bracelets or fall jewelry. So there you go. There's my brown and my seed beads. Let's get this set up so you can see all the pretty colors we're going to work with today. There you go. I think it's time to get started. I have one other tool that I'm probably going to use today. It's my one-step looper. That's 2.25, and I will show you how to use this, and I also will show you how to make loops if you don't have a one-step looper. I think it's always good that you know how to make them even if you don't have the tool. So where do we want to start? Let's start with the easiest thing first. Let's make a bracelet. And it is going to be memory wire, but we're also going to make a bracelet with stringing wire. We're also going to make a bracelet using linked beads, and we're going to make some earrings, and as I said, maybe a necklace. And we need to free up some room. Memory wire comes in different sizes. Mine is 2 1/4 inch in diameter, but I know you can get smaller. I think I have a link for it now below the video for the smaller wire if you have a small wrist. So we're going to look at this as 1 1/2. So I'm going around my loop, and then I'm coming around another half. So this is the cut part. I know it's hard to see. And don't try your regular cutters. You'll just damage them. They can't handle this wire. I know because, you know, I've tried it once a long time ago. So here's our memory wire. And if you want to, you can file the ends. So I showed you that in a recent video, so I'm not going to show it in this video. Where do we start? Do we want a focal point? I think I do want a focal point. And it's either going to be the black bead or the orange bead. I think I'm going to start with black. And I guess, you know, we could always add some spacer beads and things, but I'm considering just using some 6/0s. Now I can't dip the memory wire in here, so I'm going to have to pick them up. But I'm going to just use up. This is just, you know, a bead mix I made up. And yes, I have to pick and choose my beads, but so there's our orange and black already. Oh, I feel like a kid in a candy store. Where do I begin? Let's go with, I'm going to make this symmetrical. So we're going to put a green on each side. I want to make sure you can see everything as I make it. So I'm going to pull back a little bit. So we've got a little bit of green. Let's add now a bright yellow, one on each side. And then I'm thinking we need, you know what I need? I need some small black beads. I've got large black beads, but I need some small. I found some round black beads in my bead stash. Let's add another bright color. Maybe, do I want to put some white in here? You know what, I'm going to go with the green. The green is kind of, the green is clear, unlike the other beads that are more solid, but that's what we have. And let's add crystal maybe. Although I wouldn't mind the crystal up further because it's so pretty. See, this is what we do when we're making something for the first time. We play. I'll show you in just a second here. There we go. I think it would show up better against white. So that's what we have so far. Not that I need this big dish, but I'm going to change my beads around here. I just moved the orange to here because I don't have room to have this big dish when all I'm trying to do is show this to you up close. I could throw in some white. I'm not sure though. I think it's really going to stand out. Oh, I have, well, I don't want to put black on black. Okay, let's go back to the orange. That's what we're going to do. There's no right or wrong bead. Just whatever you like. Let's add one of these yellow plastic beads, vintage plastic beads. I bet this looks crazy busy to you, huh, on camera, but I want you to see, you know, what I'm working with, what I'm pulling from. We need another seed bead. Let's go with green. I have a couple of different greens. I have this frosted green, and I think it's time for another black bead. And then let's go to a bright yellow. You know, the fun thing about making your own jewelry is no one's going to have anything like it, just you. It's your own creation, unless you make them to sell them, and that's perfectly fine. Do as you wish. Put orange in here. This is what we have so far. Does that look like fall and Halloween to you? It does to me. It does to me. Whoa, I lost a bead. And we could have put beads closer to this and made this more of a focal point. You know, I might do that on the next one. What do we want to add here? The thing is, the prettier, fancier beads are great for on top of the wrist. And when we get to the bottom, it really doesn't have to be that fancy. In fact, we could finish off with 6 O's. In other words, if you don't have a lot of fancy beads, well, use some solid color beads. These are 6 O's, or maybe these are, no, I'm sorry, not 6 O's. These are 2 O's. 6 O's are what I'm using right here. But we could finish off, now that we pretty much are, you know, around the wrist, you know, around the sides of the wrist, we can finish off with these. Or 6 O's. I'm going to see how these look because I have them to use, so.
I'm not ready for autumn. Autumn comes too soon. Autumn comes too soon. The light that flickers.
I've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just going to add a clip. We can put on here, and we can always cut the wire shorter. We don't have to have it as long as what I have it.
Autumn comes too soon. The light that flickers will blow.
I think we could almost call it there. Or go one more. Doesn't hurt to wrap around the wrist a little bit. And then we could finish off with a colorful bead, like an orange one here. And sometimes I finish off with a metal bead, but I think I'll finish off with orange. And I also have this tool that I file the ends with. There's 2 ways to make a loop at the end here. You can either use round nose pliers and make a loop. You can roll it to the outside or to the inside, or you can use a looping tool. Some of these tools, I didn't think to introduce this at the beginning, so sorry about that. And you can do a small loop or a large loop. I think I'm going to do a small loop. I'm just lining it up so that I can, the wire is flush, and I'm just going to roll it to the outside. Okay, make sure it's closed. I'm going to recount these beads again. 3, 6, 9, 10. So I want to make sure that's what I have on the other end. 3, 6, 9. Now that I'm looking at it, I think the 6 O's might lay a little nicer, you know. So keep that in mind. But work with what you have. That is still a little bit too long. I want about 1/4 inch. So actually I should have cut that slightly. So using my memory wire cutters, I need to turn this down just a little bit, and I'm going to do it over my trash can. Now, if you don't have a looping tool, use your round nose pliers. And if you need to straighten it out a little bit, well, straighten it out a little bit. You could also attach a charm here if you like. But here we go. Bracelet number 1, our Halloween or fall bracelet, memory wire bracelet is done. How easy was that? I've got a variety of 6/0 beads throughout, and then I finish off with some 2/0 beads, some of these larger 2/0s. These are check glass, opaque black. Bracelet number 1 is done. And I said we'd make some earrings to go with it, so here's 2 2-inch head pins. I'm not sure if these 6/0s will stay on here or if the head pin's going to go through it. I guess it's staying on. 6/0s on the end. I don't know if I want to make an earring with that largest bead here. I mean, I can. If we're going for fun, we could make a large earring to match that. Or I could use the smaller black beads that we worked in. We could work in the crystal or one of the green beads. Let's see what happens if we work in the crystal. I think I'm going to like these green beads because they have such a unique shape. It almost needs something in between, doesn't it? Maybe just some daisy spacers. Even if we didn't use them in the bracelet itself, I just feel like the earrings need a little something something. And I'm not sure I'm liking the orange bead at the bottom. Let's put a small round silver bead at the bottom. Then the black bead, then the daisy spacer, then the green. And what if we put the orange on top? It's quite simple. I'm not sure if the green is popping. I think I really want orange in this. And then maybe we put an iridescent green. Or let's try the iridescent green on the bottom. Decisions. I'm just really not liking the 6-0 at the bottom. And I need something because I think there's a risk of that working its way through. So going with a small round bead, the round black bead, and I guess I should tell you what that size is, and the green on top is kind of fun. How's that? Okay, let's do that. Let's make a second one.
All that blossoms will wither away.
The only color we haven't worked in is yellow. I could take a look at the yellow. We can compare and decide. Green on top or yellow? From my viewpoint, I like the green. Just need some ear wires. Push the beads down. Bend this at a right angle. Use whatever cutters you have for your wire. My round nose pliers already have the cutter built in. That's what I like about these. And you'll find links for my tools and some supplies, below the video. You need to be on a desktop or iPad or smartphone, not on YouTube, to find the drop-down box below the video for the description. You need to be on a different device. And thank you to all of you who use my affiliate links, because every little bit helps the channel. Helps me keep going, So thank you very much for that. Just going to open this sideways, attach the ear wire. Can open either this sideways or the head pin, whatever you prefer. So here's our bracelet, and here's our earrings, and we've made our first Halloween. Bracelet number 1, along with some earrings, is done. Let's move on to bracelet number 2. And I'm going to ask you to vote at the end of the video for your favorite or favorites. Let's take a look at some of these beads that I'm working with. This large faceted black bead is 16 millimeter. The small round black bead is 10 millimeter. These vintage beads, well, to my surprise, they're about 10 millimeter. And I have several sizes of these vintage beads, about 10 millimeter. So if you want to make these bracelets and use chunkier beads, I would say from 10 on the small end, 10 to 16 millimeter. Yeah, 10 to 16 millimeter size beads. It's a great use of your larger beads. Let's use some stringing wire. We're going to make a bracelet that's about 7 inches plus an extension chain. I'm going to start with 11 inches of wire. Just going to put a clip on one end. And where do we want to start? Let's start with the big orange bead. I'm going to get some spacer beads. I might add a little bling here. I've got some green rhinestone rondelles. Let's see what happens. We work those in. And you'll find a link for these too. What happens if we put a little bit of green bling? One on each side. And then work in black bead. Again, I'm planning on going symmetrical with this because I'm trying to make this nice little focal point at the top of the wrist. Let's work in a little yellow. Again, these are just vintage plastic beads, and that's how I'll advertise them. How about some green? These are kind of neat. You can't tell on camera, but these are part frosted, part not frosted, and they have like almost little polka dots on them. I'm not sure the shade of green is working for me. Let's try working in this black and orange. The black and orange are almost like an egg shape. I think we need some green, but I'm going to go back to these vintage beads. These meaning right here. I haven't worked in much more orange though. I do need some orange here, don't I? And maybe, okay, I'm not liking this here. Meaning I want a little more color there. The yellow gold almost looked like the orange because it's a soft looking orange. It's not a bright orange. See, I want some green here. And then let's try this egg-shaped bead. Then the yellow. Not worrying too much about spacer beads in this. It's more about the color. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's add the black bead. So these are more muted colors the way I've got it because that one's a little toned down. Let's add orange. Although, here I go again, I'd almost like to have the orange higher up on the wrist. It's still going to show on the side. No, I want it up in place of the yellow. If you're enjoying this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so. And keep watching. There's more. This is what we have so far. Let's add another black bead. And then I think it's time for maybe another one of these. Only this time I'm going with a smaller black and orange bead. And then I think we're almost ready to finish off with small beads. This time, instead of finishing off with the 2 O's that are a little bit larger, I'm going to finish off with 6 O's. But then again, you know, how long are we going with this, right? Linear, I'm at 6 inches. In the diameter, it's about 6 3/4. I'm going to add a few, just a few of the 6 O's, because I still have to add a clasp. I have 5 on this side. Now I'm at 7.5. Well, that's going to be a lot bigger than what I want. However, when you put it in the diameter, just like I would around a bracelet cone, I can tell that if I leave this many 6 O's on here, it's going to be about a 7.5 inch bracelet. I do want to add an extension chain, or I could do a toggle clasp, I guess. I'm going to back off on these. I'm going to take a few of these off. I am selling these bracelets, so whatever size they turn out to be is what it is. I mean, I don't have to make it for myself here. If I put a toggle clasp on here, it's going to make this close to 7.5, maybe even 8. I'm going to grab a clasp. Instead of a toggle clasp, I'm going to use a small lobster clasp, and I always check it to make sure it's working. And then I have a closed jump ring. And let's just check this one more time. I'm going to back off just a little more because I am going to add an extension chain. So I'm going to have 2, oh my gosh, let's do this one more time. So I have 2 6 O's and then the silver bead. I have a couple of crimp tubes and my clasp, and I'm going to slip on a crimp tube. Let's zoom in just a little bit. I have the crimp tube. And this is a closed jump ring. So I'm going to go through the jump ring and then come back around and go through the crimp tube. So because I've decided to use a lobster clasp, I'm introducing another tool, and that is my crimping tool. I wanted to show you a variety of ways of making bracelets here and earrings and things. So I forgot to tell you I was probably going to use a crimping tool. Most important thing is to make sure the wires are side by side. I'm just checking here to see, because I was moving my hand around here. Okay, now I know where the short one is. Allow a little flexibility at the top. Don't have to allow a lot, but a little bit. Just going to pull that crimp bead up a little bit. And my tool, you know, my instructions say go to the first position, then the second. I'm not really sure why it says go to the first. It doesn't do much. But the middle position or second position puts it into like a hot dog bun, and then you rotate it and crimp it. And you can crimp it a few times just to make sure it's secure and check it, and it's good. And then using scissors or whatever tool you like, just cut the wire. I'm going to go through one bead first. Let's go through one bead, and then I'm going to cut the wire, push the beads down, and then pick up the second crimp bead. You know, push your beads down, but make sure you have some flexibility in it. And then go through the loop on the actual lobster clasp and come back down through the crimp bead and then one other bead. At least that's what I like to do, just to hide the tail. Doesn't make it any stronger, it just hides the tail. Then I'm going to get a hold of that and just pull on the wire until I have this tightened up. Before you cut it off, just make sure you have some flexibility here. As I said, I'm going to be adding an extension chain. I think we should zoom back out. Okay, second position, then first position. And you can just rotate it a little bit and crimp it a few times. Just till it's secure. Got it. Now we have our bracelet, but I want to add some extension chain. Going to add a little bit of oval extension chain. Probably, let's see what size we have, just like it is. It's a 7. Okay, that's good. Let's add 1.5 inch chain, approximately. You can use any chain you like. You can upcycle some chain. I'm going to use my flat nose pliers. And then I'm going to attach this to the ring. Close it up, give it a pinch. Here's our second Halloween and fall bracelet. I decided not to add any little embellishment at the end because I think the beads were getting too large that I have, in the bracelet were all too large. But let's go ahead and make a quick pair of earrings. I just have to decide what color. Oh my gosh, what color am I going to go with? These are smaller beads of this one here. And I do have some more green rhinestones. Decisions. They're going to be bigger. They're going to be larger. But let's add a black bead at the bottom as long as it stays on. Let's add the orange bead. That's a smaller version of this one. And the green rhinestone. I mean, some ladies like larger beads, right? We can do anything we want. Got a couple of ear wires. Okay, here we go. We have bracelet number 2 and this pretty vintage faceted amber orange bead. We worked in some of the black and gold beads. I really like those. It was worth taking that apart. Another cute bracelet number 2, along with some earrings. Are you ready to make bracelet number 3? I am. What else can we make? I want to use my one-step looper today. Mine is 2.25. It's the middle size. I have some 18 gauge wire. I do have a wire straightener. So let's have some fun here. See what we can link together. If you don't have a one-step looper, I'm going to show you how to make the loops manually. I'm going to show you how to make the loops without one, so don't worry about that. I try to show you more than one way of doing things, especially when I have tools that you may not have. If you're interested in any of the tools, of course I'll have links below the video, but a lot of things can be done without special tools. Okay, so I have these beads. I have all these cool beads, and I think I'm going to use this one again. And I'm going to put the wire through here. Let's put a bowl under here so you can see a little better. Put the wire through here, and the end of the wire is going to get cut off. there's this hole to the side that you can put your wire all the way through if you want to, but all that wire through that hole and even up to it, most of it's going to be waste. So sometimes I back off a little bit. Now, these are very large beads, so I'm not sure how this is going to all work out. Really not sure. I can only push the bead up to here. Let me first of all show you how this works. We're going to be pulling the handles in like that. So I'm going up to the hole to balance my wire a little bit, and I can only push the bead up to here. If I get it past this here, the bead could break. So for the first one, I'm going to waste a little more wire and let my wire rest, not go all the way through the hole, not go all the way through, but just rest inside, just to see how this does. And I got the wire pushed to the back of the tool, and I'm just closing up the handle. Okay, and that's what I got. Now you can see it put a little bend in it, but we can straighten that out. Now to make the other end, and you do need to cut your wire, and I'm going to use my cutters on here, and you need probably about 3/4 of an inch, maybe less, depends on your size of bead. But I'm going to turn this around. I have my loop facing this way, and I'm going to hold on to it like this, push this through, and do a loop on the other end. Now that loop closed up pretty nice. There's always some tweaking to do to the loops. It doesn't close them all the way. But then again, we're going to be opening these loops to attach the beads. There's one down. Let's make a black one. I'm going to make a kind of a chunky bracelet, and then we'll taper down from there. So let's take and make a black bead. I'm going to show you a couple times with the tool. Oops, I got a piece of wire stuck in there. See, it does have some waste, but if it's easier on your hands, it's worth it. Pushing this up. There's my waste that time. I'm going to cut this, allowing about maybe, well, let's measure it. How much am I allowing? I have about a 1/2 inch of wire here. Again, I'm having this loop here be this direction because I'm trying to make my loops the same direction right out of the gate, so I don't have to twist and turn them. This one's not going through the hole. I'm cutting it close, but I'm going with it. Okay. Now these are going to slide on the wire a little bit, and I'm not going to worry at all about closing up the loops until I connect everything. So let's make one more of these, and then I'm going to show you how to make the loops without the tool. And use whatever cutters you have. Now let's make one manually. And what color are we going to switch to? First of all, I haven't been straightening my wire a whole lot, but I have this wire straightener. I really like 18 gauge. You can use 20. You can probably use 22, but I'm telling you that 18 gauge makes the nicest loops, in my experience anyway. All right, let's do an orange bead, but let's not use the looping tool. Let's just put this through here, and let's make a loop. You know how typically I bend this to make earrings? Well, this is a lot harder to bend. It really is, because it's 18 gauge. Let's just cut off a piece of wire. Yeah, this is a lot harder to bend, just to bend it with your hand. That's why it's 18 gauge. So I'm going to use my round nose pliers, put that flush, and I'm going to make a loop. And just have a loop. Take the bead off. I'm going to kind of roll back and push down to make more, almost like an eye pin, you could say. But you can see it's still open here, so I need to close it. It's not going to look exactly like that loop. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to, except this time I'm going to go opposite direction. I'm going to, well, see, I might have this too long. I'm pretty certain I have this too long. I need about 1/4 inch. Let's measure it. What do I really have here? It's about 3/8 of an inch. Might have gotten a little large on my loop or a little short on my wire. But this is what I have. Hope you can see that. I'm sorry about my fingernails today. I don't look very good today, but I've been doing a lot of physical work with my hands lately, and so they're not looking too good right now. That's just the way it goes, you know. I've been working. I'll share with you eventually what that work's been all about. Okay, I think that's pretty good. You know, you can connect those okay. So that's the way to do it manually. For the sake of this video, I'm going back to my looping tool because you know what? I really like it. I did not really like it in the beginning. I found it awkward. I mean, really awkward. But I love it now. Let's do another orange. I don't mind that there's a little bit of waste because it makes it easier for me. It just does not. This time I'm not even going to go but halfway. My wire's halfway through here. And I'm going to make my loop. And this time I'm going to cut my wire, which I have other wire cutters too. You know, I have flush cutters and stuff. And I'm going to cut my wire. I mean, I have to have about a 1/2 inch to do this, I believe. Let's see, do I really have a 1/2 inch? Yes, I have a 1/2 inch. So I'm still going to hold this and put this through here in the same direction, meaning, you know, I'm holding this way, the loop. I want my, okay, now did I allow enough wire? Pushing it to the back. I had to let go of the bead that time because it was really pulling it up. And here we go. So we got 2 of those, 2 orange. Let's do, I really wanted to work these beads in, but I did say I'm going for chunky. Oh, let's do the 2 orange crystals. I don't know how many beads we'll need for this bracelet, but we'll find out. Let's put a crystal on here. I know it's orange again, but it's a little awkward working with the spool, but it's cheaper if you buy. I don't have any links for this, I don't think. I might, but it's cheaper to buy, for the most part, cheaper to buy the wire when you buy a spool of it. Of course, the more quantity you buy of pretty much anything, the less expensive it's going to be. Okay. Let's put the bead on here. See how easy that is? Okay, I need to bring some other colors in. I'm getting carried away with, okay, if we're going true vintage, going back to these. I just like these beads. You know, it does get a little stuck on there. Just pull it off. And I actually like using my flush cutters better than my cutter on my round nose pliers for this part. Pushing the bead down. So now what else? A couple of small black beads. You don't need as many beads when you're making a linked bracelet because the wire takes up some of the space, you know, for the bracelet. It will be interesting when I'm done here to see how many beads it actually took. I'm designing and making the video all at the same time. I did not practice this. I think you can tell that. I'm winging it because that's what we all do, right? When we sit down to play with our beads and findings. I mean, how often do we know exactly what we're going to make? Might have an idea in mind, but it's still all an experiment. Is it not? I mean, sometimes I know exactly, but today I'm playing, absolutely playing. Again, I'm going to close all of those up when it comes time. Let's take a look at something here. I've never done this before with linked beads, but I want to see if we can kind of get an idea. You know, they're going to be linked. I've never laid them out before like this in a linear manner, but maybe I don't need to make any more at all. Oh, those don't match. Wow. You know, I think I have enough beads to work with. I don't need the brown. I'm at 7 inches. might work these in because the beads are larger, they're going to sit further away from the wrist. So I might need to work these in. And if I do, I would work them in right here. I'm going for it. I'm ready to start connecting. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers, but you could also use flat nose pliers. And I'm just going to start opening these up sideways, just like you would for earrings, and connect the beads. And make sure that, all of these are closed up. This orange one is open slightly, so I'm going to close the black one. So I'm going to slip it on the orange one. And then I'm going to open up this other end of the black bead just a little more. But I'm going to make sure that the end that I'm attaching to it on the orange bead is closed. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. One or the other end needs to be open and one needs to be closed. It doesn't matter how you decide to do it as long as you end up with them closed so they can't become disconnected. Okay, we have that half connected. There's a song in my head right now, and it's a childhood song. This is the way we connect our beads, connect our beads, connect our beads. This is the way we connect our beads. So early in the morning, I know I cannot sing. I'm so sorry. Oh no, what did I do here? What did I do? Okay, where did I mess up? Oh, this bead needs to come down here. Now when you're connecting your beads, you can sing that little song to yourself. Instead of this is the way we wash our clothes, this is the way we connect our beads. I know some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you won't. But if you're anywhere near my age, you'll know. You'll know what I mean. So don't get mad at me if you have that song in your head right now. This is the way we dun 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 dun. This is the way we connect our beads. So early in the morning. Okay, now on here, we are at 8 inches on here. But I don't think that's going to be the case when we put it around our wrist. I don't think so, but I think we have gone far enough with it. Let's find a clasp. Because this is a chunkier bracelet to put on, I'm using a larger lobster clasp than I did on the other bracelet. I even have a larger jump ring. So let's get a jump ring on one end. And that's, I need a small jump ring to attach the lobster clasp. Got one here. Attach the lobster clasp. Then after we get this on, we'll take a look at this on the bracelet cone and see what size it really is. And we can always add an extension chain. So let's check this out. Let's take a look at it. It is, with the lobster clasp, it's size 7. That's perfectly fine with me because I'm going to add some extension chain. How much? Probably 1 inch to 1.25 inches. If you ever buy a bracelet and it has an extension chain on it and you don't like it, don't need it, take it off. Can't be that difficult, especially if you make jewelry. That's the advantage of making jewelry. You can adjust things. Let's measure out about 1 inch, and not the jump ring itself, but just the chain. I'm not adding any embellishment at the end. Just going with this. But we will make some earrings to go with it. There we go. Bracelet number 3. We just need some earrings. I have the orange crystals we could use, and I have the black beads we could use. Some head pins, little round bead that I just dropped under my bowl. And let's put the crystal on the bottom, see what that looks like. Now I could make these linked earrings. You know, I could make them dangle just like we've attached everything here. And I'm going back through here and looking now, and I just noticed that I did not get this closed up as good as I could have. So always give it a little check. You know, we could always make these dangle if we wanted to, but I don't know. I think I'm okay if they just are on the head pin like this. If we want to add a hint of green on top, just to bring in all the different colors, I can add a green bead on top. A couple of ear wires. Let's make some earrings. To add the ear wire, just open up the loop at the top to the side, close it up. I don't like this ear wire. I think I cut it too short. Something's off with it, so if you don't like it, you do it again. Here we go. Bracelet number 3. I really like bracelet number 3 because I really like making linked bead bracelets. I'll say that 10 times real fast. Let's take a closer look at what we made today. If you have any interest in any one of these sets, let me know right away. As of this video today, it's August 13th, 2025. I haven't put the bracelets up on eBay yet, the bracelets and matching earrings. If you are interested in one of these sets, set number 1, 2, or 3, please drop me an email at avanteavenue@gmail.com. Drop me an email and let me know if you have a particular set you're interested in. The reason is I'm not listing them on eBay unless someone really wants a set, because I have something else going on, something else up my sleeve, and I'm not ready to tell you yet. Maybe you'll find out on Vintage Vicky first. If you follow Vintage Vicky, that's probably where you'll find it out first. But anyway, I'm not putting them on eBay yet unless you really want it. I think I'm going to put each set at $19.95 for the bracelet and the earrings. That gives you an idea. Of course, plus ship. I really appreciate all of you. I love to read your comments. I'm not commenting back so much these days because I have 3 busy channels and other things going on. But I most certainly give you a heart and a thumbs up to let you know that I read your comment. And if you have a direct question, I do my best to answer it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Vicki, and I'll see you in the next video. Well, sometimes I'm behind the scenes, but I'm still there.